Yo YouTube, Cobalion Council, and today I'm here with another episode of Teachy TV. And today's episode will be about laddering in specifically Pokemon Showdown. The reason for this video is because of the fact a lot of people have been watching my series. Few people have been watching my series, and some guy asked me for like, hey, how does it come that I do know every step, but I seem to get stuck at certain points of the ladder? And I will be talking about that today. First of all, the thing that I need to explain, what is a ladder? Now, there's actually a little info button right here. The ladder has basically a couple of codes, blah blah. But a ladder is basically like levels in games. If you are starting a game, you're gonna face some like low level enemies, and might find a boss that's decently leveled. And the further you get in the game, the better the opponents will be, the better your enemies will be, higher level they have, and eventually you'll end up fighting like a big boss. And that's basically how a ladder works. You start off facing some people that are just starting like you or aren't really good at it, and slowly as you keep winning and keep coming up the ladder, you're gonna face more difficult opponents to beat, stronger opponents, skillful opponents, and stuff like that. So a lot of people, and I will have like type chart I think a chart open, because if I go for like the OU tier, it's the most played tier ever, pretty much, and it says a lot of these things. I will be going over everything right now. Elo is pretty much a thing the ladder is based on. It's basically you start off with like 1000 points, and like you see there are people that have more than 1000 points, but every time you win a game you get a certain amount of points. This might be a high number like 40, or this might be the low number around like 30, or no, well, not 30, like 13 or something like that, a low number. The amount of points you get will slowly stack, and you might go like, if you win a couple of games, you get like 1200, 1400, 1600, and as I've been saying, like once you, it's actually dependent on the tier, but in like OU, once you get like 1300 or 1400, you're gonna realize that the opponents are getting really strong, or at least a little bit stronger. Once you hit like 1500, 1600, you're gonna just face opponents that you might just 50-50 to. It's really difficult spot to be in. So that's basically how Elo works. And the top of the ladder, this guy has like 2080, which is a really larger amount of points. The next thing is the GXE, and the GXE is a thing I get a lot of questions about. GXE, it's just basically a question. Question is a percentage based on the win-loss ratio you have. So if you win a lot of games, you do start from like 50%, 50-50, this means that you have 50% chance to win a game. Yeah, user percentage to change of winning a game. Yeah, so it's actually just, if you win a game, that 50-50 might turn in your favor. You might have more than 50% to win a match, but if you keep losing a lot of games, you might have a lower amount of 50%. And in this case, these people have been winning a lot, that's why they're high on the ladder, but they've been losing, they haven't been losing at all pretty much, and it means that his chance to lose a match is really slim to none. It's actually pretty impossible for him. Now, I'm not gonna say impossible, but he has a large amount of he has a big chance to win a game. The third thing in a row is the clicker rating, and that's basically it's like the Glicko is not really important. It might be important for like a suspect ladder or something like that, and Coil for example is important for a suspect ladder as well. But the things that you want to really focus on are the Elo and the Glicko. Just to clarify how the ladder works, you can also check it here, and it has a rating and deviation values. It's just how much will you drop after a loss, basically. But with that, it's pretty much the thing you have to know. Like, yeah, Coil is the convert. I'm not gonna even try to explain it, but it's just when there is a suspect, so when a Pokemon might get banned or something like that, people with a high Coil or a high enough Coil will get the chance to vote if that Pokemon gets banned or it stays. And that's basically how a ladder works. Some ladders are really high, like I said, OU 2080 is pretty high, and like Ubers as well is really high. But if you look at a tier like Pew, might not be so high. Nah, so this is already a large, or it's pretty. I'm trying to find a low tier. Yeah, so this isn't that 2000 mark that you saw. Yeah, it's like 1700 in comparison to. If you look at like the bottom of the look at the bottom of the ladder, if you remember the OU, like 1700 to hit it, here it is like 1400, which is a smaller amount. So a lot of people want to wind up at a ladder, and if you really want to hit a ladder, like if that is your goal in life, try a tier like RU, which is played a little bit less, so you don't have to get as much points as other ladders. And some ladders, just some metagames aren't played at all, just pretty much never played. And for example, I believe this ladder is this. If you take a look at a tier like Gen 5 NU, nobody wants to play, pretty much nobody wants to play Gen 5 NU. And actually I played 3 games or something like that. I was once at the top, but these are just people. If you just find a battle with a random opponent and your friend is also looking at like the ladder of Gen 5, and you're pretty much guaranteed to get him. So if you want to reach that top, well, go ahead. But that's basically how a ladder works. Now for the second part of the video, how do I end up at the top of a ladder, or how do I ladder up? Well, like I said, every part of the ladder is a little bit different. Like if you start at like 1000, you might face opponents that are really bad, or teams that are really bad in general. So just using hyper offense is a thing that I really recommend, or maybe balance. Stall isn't as, I mean, stall is a decent playstyle to ladder with, don't get me wrong, but it takes a while. In my opinion, if you really want to ladder up quick, you either pick hyper offense or bulky offense, because with these kind of playstyles you ladder up a little bit faster. But stall isn't a viable playstyle currently, because if you take a look at, like I said, NU loading, nice. But there is a player on Smogon on Showdown is really famous for playing stall. You might have seen it already. It's Piff. Pokemon is Fun. Pokemon Fun. It uses he uses pretty much only stall only. Hence the nice name. This isn't loading up, but Pokemon is Fun. But if you play against him, it might not be as fun. But like I said, low ladder is just basically use hyper offense. You'll get higher quickly. And once you hit like 1300 on certain ladders, it might be smart to really pick a team that you're really familiar with. Like I said in a previous episode, changing up your teams is really important as well, and you have to keep changing up your teams on the ladder as well. If you, for example, keep facing certain playstyles, if you keep facing certain Pokemons that your team isn't really just equipped to deal with, well, then change up your team so you have a team that really can get rid of that threat, that can deal with a certain mon. For example, I did a live with Gyarados a while back, and we had a team that was really weak versus Slowking, and we faced Slowking 2 times in a row, so we lost 2 times in a row. But the game after that, we went ahead and picked a team that could deal with Slowking, so we wouldn't get walled by Slowking anymore, which was a pretty smart decision in my opinion. But just change up your teams according to the ladder. If you see that a certain Pokemon is used more, just in general, for example, if you look at OU right now, a while back Charizard X was really used, pretty much every team. It was pretty much Char X, Lando, yeah, it just had that core, and a lot of people ended up counter teaming that Mega Charizard with like a Mega Slowbro. There was a time that Mega Slowbro was extremely popular, but after a while the Charizard X's disappeared because of the fact that Slowking was used so much. Slowbro, sorry, Slowking, but Mega Slowbro was used so much to the point that Charizard X didn't really fit in the meta as well, so it got used a little bit less. And what happened to Slowbro is that Mega Slowbro wasn't really used at all after that, because there was no real need for it. I think the most used Mega at this point is pretty much Mega Lopunny, so might be a time that they're gonna counter team it after this, but I feel the Mega is so short there isn't really gonna change a lot. But keep that in mind. If you see a lot of Pokemon on the ladder that threaten your team, change it up, make it so that it can beat that team. So that's a tip I have to give you as well. The third thing I want to talk about laddering, that's the final thing, but if your team isn't really good at all, it might be smart to change it up. It might work low ladder, but you have to realize that low ladder you're gonna win with certain trash teams as well. I mean, for like the series Sub Team Tuesday, I was like really pretty low ladder, and I won using a physical Rose Raid. Well, that's not gonna happen high ladder. So keep in mind that when you're low ladder, a lot of things might work, but eventually they might not work at a higher ladder. So change up your team in a regard that just try to improve your team. It might seem solid in the beginning, but once you first just start realizing that my team isn't as good as it should be, trying to change it up with like getting rid of I had a nice team, for example, a while back. It was really good. I mean, this team was so good. I changed it. The original team I stole from somebody, but it had Slow King over Slow Bro. But once I was just battling and I won like 3 times or 4 times in a row, I realized that my Slow King wasn't really capable of taking physical hits, and I didn't like the fact. So what I did was change Slow King to Slow Bro, and with this I could take Excadrill, I could take it on a little bit better, and just a Mega Lopunny I might take a return from that instead of just dying to it. So it's really important to keep that in mind. So I changed up the team and it works pretty well now. So the last thing I want to tell you about is the fact that if you want a ladder and you don't really win as much, the thing that really helps you keep on the ladder nonetheless is if you battle a lot. If you battle a lot, your GXC might not be so good, so your percentage that you win, but in the end it all comes down to the elo. You have to keep that elo high. If you win, if you battle a lot, and you might face a lot of higher ladder people, you might win a few points. That's really the point of it. And I see a lot of people with like a lot of high ladder people don't have the highest GXC, and those are a lot of people that just played 600 games, won 400, lost 200. But it's you got to keep in mind, if you lose a lot of matches, it isn't that bad. You just have to keep battling, otherwise you won't end up high ladder at all. And on the other side, there is if you just keep losing on the day for like hacks, and you got salty, and you don't win at all, I have just a really good tip. Stop for that day. Just gonna chill out. Just play some, I don't know, Pokemon Leaf Green or something like that. Chill out in the corner. But don't mess around, because once you get mad from games, once you just lose the entire day, don't go and try to force it, because if you're on a really losing streak on a day, it's most likely that you're gonna keep losing because you're frustrated. So don't go and try to improve it on that day. Just go back to it another day. And that's my tip, because I once got like 1500 at UU, I believe, or OU. I got 1500 for OU, and I ended up not just like barely being on the ladder, and I lost like 7 games in a row because of hacks. And I just kept going. I lost 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, and I really got frustrated, and I ended up like 1300 in the end of the day, which is so bad. I mean, going from 1500 to 1300 just because of the fact that I didn't quit is pretty stupid of me. But I recommend that if you just keep losing to hacks, just quit for that day and come back and hope you're lucky that day. But that's pretty much all I have to say about laddering in Pokemon Showdown. I wish you the best of luck reaching that ladder. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The next episode will be about, well, it's gonna be a surprise. I think I have to record that after the vacation, so I might have a couple new ideas. So, but that's been me, and I'm signing off right now. So peace, have a great day. And I U-turn to kill this. Nice, and I gain momentum, and I have 2 turns of tailwind left, which is pretty nice. Man, the thing being asleep sucks. Can kill you. I have like a team without real offense. I mean, the offense is Choice Bandit, so I can't say that isn't offense, but it's asleep. I don't have a heal bam on. I mean, his best play is probably going into... Wait, I'm faster. He might switch into Vileplume right here. As he doesn't, he just sacks Cure. Okay.